right, peace and much love. Zin Uru here. Welcome to the latest installment of Message from the Minister. This is Message from the Minister number 19. 19. You got to go way back to the 80s to remember that old, it's like an industrial, early electronic track called 19, talking about war and things like that. Actually, a really great song. So I'll put the name of the artist up here real quick to revisit that. But yeah, that actually just reminded me of being a child or being a young kid growing up, you know, and like we used to listen to the radio before YouTube, before the internet, and there wasn't a lot of ways to go get cassettes and records like that when you're, 9, 10 years old. So you listen to the radio at night. and I used to stay up late listening to the radio, and I would have a blank cassette tape. And if I'd hear a song I'd want, I'd like wait for the song to come on, and I hit record. I'd have it on pause and record, and then I hit the pause button so I could record it. And sometimes you get the DJ talking over it, but as long as you got the track, you were stoked because then you didn't have to wait to hear it on the radio. But anyways, fast forward 2021, here we are with all of this digital technology, and here we are on YouTube or wherever device you're watching this on, an iPhone, an iPad, computer, whatever it is you're seeing this device on, some kind of holographic thing in the future, hopefully. I just want to invite you all and welcome you all here. Thank you all for being here. This week's message from the Minister it's a simple message, but it's complex at the same time. And it's open your heart. Open your heart. Open your heart. Keep it guarded. Keep it safe. Keep the heart protected, but keep the heart open. That's how it works. That's how the embracing of the wholeness, that's how oneness with the universe, that's how our true nature with God actually opens up, by opening up the heart. So as I was saying already, welcome y'all here. Thank y'all for being here. I see you, I see you, I see you. And more people are starting to file in, so welcome y'all here. As we say every week on Message from the Minister, there is no such thing as time and space in the spirit. We are all here together right here and right now in spirit. So no matter where you are in the future or where you are on this realm that we call Earth, you're here, we're here together, right now. Visualize yourself here, see yourself here. Know that I welcome you here with an open heart and an open mind and an open soul and an active soul and a warm heart and a free mind. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's get started. So, as I was going through the notes this week on Open Your Heart, it was very interesting because certain themes come to me each and every week. I talk about this all the time. And this week's theme for Open Your Heart, it was really a heart-opening experience. It was a warming experience because this isn't something that we really talk about enough. And it was funny, I was going to do the etymology, or actually just do the definition of the word heart. And I thought, I'm not even going to use a definition this week, probably. I'm not even going to use the dictionary definition of heart this week, because doesn't everybody know what the heart is? And I thought, it'd probably just be a very short definition, and like the muscle in your chest that pulsates or something. And as I opened up the American Heritage Dictionary, the 3rd edition, that we're going to be reading from today, I actually read the longest definition of any word that we've covered in all 18 Message from the Minister so far. This being number 19, this is the longest actual definition for the word heart. And as I was reading it, and we get to the definition in a minute, as I was reading it, I was like, this is profound. Because we have a heart. We talk about our heart, the heart that beats in our chest, that pumps the blood through our body and through our system. The heart is life. They listen to the heartbeat to see if somebody's dead or alive, or they'll feel the pulse of the heart on different parts of the body where you can feel the pulse of the heart to determine if somebody is dead or alive. Somebody could not be breathing, but if their heart's beating, then they still have life in them. And so I was thinking, this is going to be a very clinical definition, and lo and behold, we all understand on a high degree what the heart actually is, what it means to have heart, to open your heart, and these type of sayings and these type of words when we talk about heart. So for tonight's discussion, we'll talk a little bit about the beating heart that's in our chest. That heart is very important because it's the physical manifestation of something deeper, something spiritual, something soulful that we call our heart. Now, when we get into the chakras, here's a diagram of the chakra system, the 7 chakras. We see that the heart is in the center. It's called the center chakra. It's called the mittal chakra, and it's located right here in the chest area, right in the center of the chest here. And it's symbolized in ancient cultures, it's symbolized by the color green. And this green center, this green energy center, this life-giving nature of the heart is green in part because it represents the earth and the abundance of growth and vegetation and where our oxygen comes from. And that's the heart. And you know, if you notice something when we're breathing, it's like right here, we think it's the lungs, but it's like a compression device right here. And this is where the breath is pulled in through the body, and this is where the breath is, let's make sure I just hit the mic there. This is where the breath is pulled into the body and where the breath is pushed out of the body. It's like a pump right here, this heart. And this heart center, this is the center of our emotional body. Actually, all the chakras are all related to some sort of feeling or emotional state. However, the heart is the center or the centaur. You know, it's the center, it's the guardian of the rest of the body. They talk about heart intelligence, the intelligence of the heart. Follow your heart, the heart knows. The heart is an amazing thing, but what we're talking about here isn't the physical heart so much, but as much as the symbolic heart, this energetic heart, this spiritual heart that we have and that we feel, this heart-centered chakra. It is so important to life, that is so important to our well-being and the way that we feel, that it really, when the heart is open, it allows the other chakras, the higher chakras, the throat, the so-called third eye, the crown, the solar plexus, the root, and the sacral, the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root. It allows these chakras above it and below it to open up more as well. We hear the old term, as above, so below. Well, with the heart symbolizing the earth, we see that mirrored above, the throat and the sacral are very much related. We realize that the throat and the solar plexus are really related, are very related in their energetic bond that they have with one another. We also see that the so-called third eye chakra and the sacral chakra are very much related to one another, and also the crown chakra and the root chakra are very much related to one another. But this center chakra, this heart chakra, is like the earth. So as above and so below, as above. So when the heart is open, when the heart plane is open, when the heart is open and warm, we're going to get to that as well too, talk about the warm heart. The other chakras come into alignment. Now, I've done a lot of yoga and Tai Chi and breathing exercises and meditation pretty much since I was 13 years old and took my first karate class when we learned meditation. We learned how to calm the heart and the mind and the body. And so I've thought about this for years. You know, I've read all these different texts and, you know, some agree with one another, some disagree with one another. One thing that I found, though, is that when we're aligning chakras, that when we concentrate on the center and the heart, that if you're feeling a certain way, that you're feeling out of alignment, the quickest way for us to get into alignment is through the heart. The heart is the seat of the soul. Some people say the pineal gland is the seat of the soul. But I feel the seat of the soul right here because my heart is warm and my heart is open. But it hasn't always been that way. You know, we can love and still have a closed heart because the heart, even when it's closed off and is shut off from the world and from other people, it still has a loving presence within itself. It still has an empowering presence within itself. And so, you know, we can love and still have a closed heart because a lot of parents go through this, you know, parents who've been through abusive situations or parents who've struggled in their life and they have their children and they love their children with all their heart, but they can still have a closed heart even though they love their children. They can still not even maybe love themselves or their partner, but still love their children. So having an open heart doesn't necessarily mean a loving heart, or having a loving heart doesn't necessarily mean having an open heart. Although having an open heart is having a loving heart ultimately, is having a warm heart ultimately. As I was thinking about this message this week, you know, I had to get a little personal with myself and really, you know, talk about a couple of personal things on my journey becoming Minista Zin Uru, or becoming Zin Uru in my relationship with the teacher when I started my apprenticeship with him and as the Temple of Hip Hop. And you know, I was thinking early on, I mean, back in 2005, my official apprenticeship began on January 9th, 2005, although I was considered an apprentice of the Temple of Hip Hop before that because of my correspondence. I was thinking, you know, like, wow, back in 2005, the most important lesson that the teacher was imparting onto me one-on-one, when we'd have one-on-one time, was to open my heart. It was him and Simone would be there. And you know, they would call me in to the room and you know, sit me down, and we'd talk about where I'm at, where things are at. This is beyond business. This was like counseling sessions. This was brotherhood, sisterhood. This was you know, teacher and student. And I was you know, I would sit there and he would talk to me quite often about the need for me to open up my heart. And you know, like I said, this isn't a lesson that I really bring up, but the reason I'm bringing up this lesson to everyone is because I want to encourage you all to open up your heart and to have a warm heart in life. But with that being said, there's also certain things and certain techniques to go through to keep an open heart protected, to guard an open heart. You are responsible for your open heart. And an open heart that's open to everyone all the time will quickly become a damaged heart, will quickly get a stake put in it, will quickly become something that is not, will be hurt. And not that an open heart, we're going to get hurt in life. We're going to go through certain feelings in life that cause our heart to strengthen itself. However, when we open our heart, let's be mindful as I'm talking about opening your heart. Keep the heart protected, keep the heart guided. Don't just give out that heart energy to people who don't deserve it. And in reality, everyone deserves some love. Everyone deserves love, but everyone doesn't deserve your constant loving presence and attention. Everything doesn't deserve our constant loving presence and attention. We can give it freely, but we don't have to give it freely over and over to those people who abuse it, misuse it, and don't treat us or reciprocate that love or that open heart that we're giving out in return. So back into the apprenticeship, I remember the first time I handed the teacher one of my CDs. I handed him an album. This was before the Way of Peace. This was before Revelationary. This was before I went into Alex's studio that I talked about last week. This was, I'd gone down and I stayed with you know, some homies down in the Inland Empire down near Los Angeles, down in Southern California. And while they were working, I was able to record. They showed me how to load up a beat and how to record my vocals over it. And so I did a quick demo. I put some songs together. I was down there for a few weeks. I was down in Los Angeles, and I gave the teacher I gave the teacher a copy of that CD when I left, and I was so excited. I was like, yo, this is it. I got this CD. I had no idea what I was doing at the time musically. I'd only been rapping for like 5 or 6 months. I had no business handing the greatest MC of all time this CD, other than he is my teacher, and I wanted the feedback to see where he thought where I was at. And so I ended up driving home back up to North Cali, hanging out with the family, and I got a call from the teacher and Simone, had a call with them, and we were just discussing Temple of Hip Hop things, and the teacher said, he said, yo Zin, I just heard, I just listened to the CD you said. I said, word? He goes, yeah, we got to talk about some things. I was like, oh no, here it goes. He's like, yo, Zin, you need to work on your timing. I was like, word, yeah. He's like, you need to work on your cadence. I was like, yeah, word, I need to work on my timing. I need to work on my cadence. Zin, you need to work on your breath control. Oh man, I need to work on my timing, my cadence, and my breath control. He didn't say my lyrics though, which was dope. But I was like, oh man, my timing, my cadence, my breath control, basically everything as an MC that you got to work on. And but he said, but Zin, all of that's just the technical aspect of it. He says, Zin, listening to this album, Zin, I really want to encourage you once more to open your heart. He says, as an MC, you need to open your heart. And I can hear on this album that your heart's not open. And I was like, my heart's not open. Yo, man, I took that to heart, literally. I started feeling that inside. I started getting all like, what does he mean? My heart's not open. I love my kids. I love the teacher and Simone. I love my then wife at the time. And, I love certain people in life. Like, my heart's not open, but I love people. Do I love myself? No, I don't really. That's actually a good question. I don't really know if I love myself like that, if I have any love for who I am or any love for what I do. So I started asking myself these questions, He said that, and I took it to heart. It was on my heart and my mind constantly after that. There was a bunch of things we talked about, but that one really struck home, so to speak. That one really hit me, and it stirred something up inside because I'd never really considered having an open heart. Now, he talked to me about that before. He had mentioned it a couple of times before, and I was like, yeah, okay, I see, I need to open up my heart. But I didn't really know what that meant at the time, and then when I took that in as an MC, because I'm working on my rhymes and dedicated to my rhymes, I need to get this part of me out there. I need to be able to express myself through rhyme. I was like, yo, what does that have to do with rapping? What does having an open heart to do with MCing? And I went deep with that. I went deep with that, and I started really thinking. When I was doing my meditations, I started thinking about my heart and what it meant to have an open heart. I started visualizing it opening like this, like there were some gates there, and it was open, and then like it was behind these gates. But it was such a profound moment for me. Because not so much that it was about opening the heart, it was a moment of awareness where the teacher had pointed out something within me that I didn't realize that my heart was closed off. And when I got more deep into it, I realized that my heart was closed to God, that my heart was closed to myself, that my heart was closed to those around me, that my heart was closed to truth, my heart was closed to life itself. And somehow life itself and God and those around me have brought me to this place in time where it was time now for me to open my heart. So about a year goes by, and I'm working on this. I'm meditating on it, I'm thinking about it, I'm intellectualizing it a lot, which I think a lot of us do when it comes to matters of the heart and matters of love as well, because love and the heart, they're one and the same, It's that warm heart is a loving heart, a caring heart. An open heart is a loving heart. But it's open, the love's in the heart, but to open the heart means to express the love. But a lot of times what we'll do is we'll intellectualize what love is. We make this intellectual thing. Well, love is this and love is that, and of course this is love, and I love my children, and I love doing this, and of course I love myself because the intellect says I love myself, and I know intellectually that loving is a very profound thing to do. So therefore I am love. And I was thinking about it and I was feeling into it a little bit, but about a year went by, and I was out on tour myself, Mondo, big up Mondo 1 again, big up my brother, and the teacher, we're on tour. This is around 2006. It was a good year, maybe about a year and a half later after having that conversation, and we had done other tours and other dates between that year and a half. It was like a nonstop, apprenticeship. But there was this morning we were getting ready to leave and drive to a next show. We got up. We were getting the cars ready, and we had two cars. Teacher drove his car. He had his Escalade at the time, and Mondo and I were driving the Trinity van, we called it. It was the van. And so teacher calls to me and says, "Hey, yo, Zin, have Mondo, we're going to follow you, okay, Mondo?" Mondo had the directions of where to go. He said, "We're going to follow you. I want to talk to Zin for a little bit." So I get into his Escalade, and we're driving along, and we're having all these different conversations about the tour, about the families, about finances, about MCing, and about all these things. And this was the kind of the personal part that I don't share very often, and even sharing it on this video. I'm sharing this in the spirit of intimacy because it needs to be seen. And to say this about opening our heart, I hope that this story and what this does is it encourages you to open your heart, like I said earlier. But so we're driving along, and we're talking about the future, we're talking about the present, we're talking about what's going on in our lives, like I said. And we have this quiet moment, and the teacher looks at me, and he looks over at me, and he's driving, and he says, "Yo, Zin." I said, "Yeah." "Zin, I know we've talked about this before, but I don't know if you're really understanding what I'm saying and what I'm asking of you." And I said, "Okay, word, what's that, teacher?" And he got, what do you mean, teacher? What do you want to talk to me about? He goes, "Well, I've been wanting to talk to you more, and this is actually why I wanted to talk to you, amongst the other things. This is like the real core of what I wanted to talk to you about." He says, "Zin, I know I've asked you to open your heart in the past, and I don't know that you're really opening it yet." And man, for me, I've been working on it. I've gone a year gone by. Like I said, I got all the intellectual things figured out. I was thinking I was, have my heart open, and here is my mentor and the teacher saying, "Zin, I don't really think you've opened your heart yet." And I was like, man, he goes, "Zin, but feel me here." He goes, I want you to get what I'm saying here, okay? He said, because when you open your heart, you'll begin expressing yourself, and you'll begin expressing your purpose, and that's really what we're all waiting on, is for you to begin doing that. He said, but you got to be careful too, Zin, and you need to understand where I'm coming from, Zin. I was like, word, okay. He said, because I think we both know the reason why you have a hard time opening your heart is because for you specifically and for you particularly, every time you've opened up your heart in the past and in past lives, somebody's put a stake in it. Whoa. Man. I mean, that was a profound moment for me. That was a life-changing moment. That may be the life-changing moment of life-changing moments, and I've had a lot of them. But I realized there that the reason that I was only intellectualizing opening up my heart was because I was actually afraid to open up my heart because of not only experiences in this life, but in past lives as well. Somebody actually put a stake in it. And I was sitting there, I was like, man, I got real quiet for a minute there. I said, I hear you, teacher. You're right. I hear you. He says, then what you have to do is you have to learn how to open your heart and guard your heart. He goes, believe it or not, that knowledge isn't something outside of yourself, although you might find some useful ideas and useful hints, but that knowledge actually lies within your heart. And that knowledge actually is within your heart right now. You actually know what to do. And you just got to give yourself permission to do it. And not fear. Don't be afraid, Zin. Don't be afraid to open your heart. And using him as an example, wherever we go, he's beaming like the sun everywhere he's teaching, every time he's rapping. It's with a full open heart, And here I am, I'm able to open my heart a little bit when I'm around people I love, like the teacher or my children, and I'm able to, and friends, I'm able to do that a little bit. So I think we all know we can open and close it, right? But what he's talking about is something else. What he was putting on me was something else. And what was on my soul then and what was on my heart then was a weight. And I had to start feeling into my heart. And when I would sit and meditate, I would meditate on this, and I started feeling into my heart. I felt a burning inside, like a pain, like a suffering and a burning and a pain. And all I knew what to do was surround that pain and that suffering with love. And I truly believe that had I not done that, I would have developed some kind of a heart condition in my life, some kind of actual heart condition in my life. Because remember that those vibrational frequencies that we carry within ourselves, they will manifest sooner or later in the physical body. I had a friend had a heart attack, and he was a young man, 27 years old, when he had the heart attack because of all the stress that he was under and all the, this was a guy who really cared about other people and always put everybody before him and was a hard worker, worked countless hours because this company always seemed to need his help and this company was always behind on things. And so he was a genius level dude, man, and burning out and had a heart attack at 27 years old. My best friend growing up had a heart attack at 27 years old. And I remember talking to him about it, and he said, he's like, you do understand what a heart attack is, right? And I said, what? And he said, my heart attacked me. I was like, yo, wow, your heart attacked you, Now, I think a lot of disease and a lot of heart disease, it stems from us not being able to open up our energetic heart, our heart chakra, our center heart, our warm heart, our actual soul. And the reason I say that is because I understand now that burning that I felt inside my heart. Not heartburn like you get from food, but that burn, there was a pain in my heart, a suffering in my heart that I had to learn to love and forgive whoever did that to me or however that happened. I had to look within and pray. And I prayed to God for help with that heart. And I would sit with it, and when my heart would be suffering and when it would hurt, I would just love it and tell it I love it over and over again. And tell it, yo, heart, I'm here for you. Yo, heart, I love you. Heart, I am you. You are me. Heart, you are the most important thing of my being, to have heart. Because without heart, how can I live my purpose? Without heart, how am I ever going to pick up the mic and rock an audience? Without heart, how am I going to write my book? Without heart, how am I ever going to do these messages from the Minista without my heart open, without my heart? And heart, I don't know why people stuck a stake in you, because I don't know why people hurt you, heart, because you always came out loving and you always cared about other people. I don't know why they did this to your heart. I don't know why. I don't know why there's narcissistic abuse in the world, heart. I don't know why. I don't know why I was born with this profound sense of empathy that just as soon as I meet somebody or as soon as I communicate with somebody, I feel what they feel in their heart to heart. I don't know why that is, heart. But I do know I care about you. I do know I love you, and I do know I can take care of you. I do know I can protect you. So this went on, this went on. It's 2006, 7, 8. It was a good 6 years of this meditation, this heart meditation, before the heart was fully warm and fully open. But it was a gradual process, and this is what I want to impart to y'all. This is something that does take time, depending on the level of emotional abuse, physical abuse or abuse that you've been under. If you ever experienced child abuse, hardcore child abuse, you were yelled at, told you was a worthless piece of shit, you was beat on physically, whatever that is, as a child, like it's a hard, you're going to have to go through the opening of the heart. And just looking at the way that the world is pretty abusive, right? You gotta open that heart and keep it warm. They're uncovering all these graves up in Canada right now. From the Catholic churches that killed the indigenous children and these native children up in Canada. It's not getting covered by the mainstream news, but it's up in the thousands now. They're finding these unmarked graves, or these graves that just have numbers of these children who were killed by the Vatican. It happened to us in Europe too. There's millions of children were murdered in Europe too, as we were colonized by that institution. Happened all over the world, and Africa, it happened all over the world. South America, United States, it happened all over the world. But right now we're seeing the crying out of these children. These children are calling forward, and they're saying it's time to open our heart. And an open heart means we got to face some things that are actually painful. We got to face some suffering. We got to face some truth of what actually is the reality of what's going on. And so, this week, seeing that message, I seeing these stories that friends in the Native community are sharing, and my heart going out to them, because this is something that we all have to deal with, is the murder of children in the world and on earth. And one of the reasons that we would subconsciously want to guard our heart is because we know that truth exists, and we don't really want to be part of that truth, and we don't want to accept that truth that actually happens, because I think we've been lied to, that we think if we accept something that somehow we're responsible for it too. And it's true, we are responsible for it, but not that we're responsible for murder. The people who murdered those children are responsible for the murder of those children. The institution that promoted the murder of those children, they're responsible for the murder of those children. However, we're responsible for the spiritual feeling and the vibration and the frequency and the grieving and the mourning and the process that goes through when we realize that an institution killed probably billions of children and cut their lives off and cut their lives short, took them from their parents at a young age. And it still goes on today in the court system when they pull children from parents. Now, as somebody who's had his children taken from him and stripped from him, and no, they were not murdered, but it feels like it because there's a part of you that loves, and it happens, and all of a sudden now you don't see your children, and because this institution, this state, somebody can lie and get somebody else's children taken from them. And this is after the heart's been opened, and this is the process of the heart opening. All of a sudden, the children that I love the most are taken away. And I've still got to open up my heart. I still got to sit with my heart going through the most suffering and pain imaginable. There is no suffering and no more pain. The most painful thing on earth is somebody's child being taken from them and then being murdered on top of that. I'm grateful my children are alive. At least somebody didn't murder them. But that pain, that suffering, man, I wanted to close it off. I wanted to hide from that. You feel me? I wanted to get away from that. And the teacher said, Zin, you need to open your heart. I had my kids living with me at the time, and then a few years later, boom, the kids are gone. And I still remember, I got to keep my heart open. I can't close my heart off. And what I've realized over time, and I didn't really plan on talking about this either tonight, but since we're talking about an open heart, feel me, get a glimpse into the world and why I'm able to say the things that I'm able to say and do the things that I'm able to do. Because I kept my heart open. I embraced that. And that suffering, that pain, turned into a heat. The purifier, I call it, the purifier. That's allowed me and given me a power and a strength to endure, to lead, to help, to counsel, and to understand, really overstand what injustice and suffering actually looks like and actually feels like, because it actually happened. And it's not like it just happened. It's still, the consequences of it are still happening this morning. I had to get up and I had to tune into my warm heart this morning when I woke up, because I'm still suffering the consequences of the injustice that's been done to me 11 years ago. And so you get into that forgiveness, part of the open heart, and one of the main parts is forgiveness. Forgiving those who've harmed you, forgiving those who've done wrong to you, forgiving those, asking forgiveness for when we've done wrong. And we've heard other people, I'm not innocent in that. I've heard other people and had to ask for forgiveness, ask God for forgiveness. But that injustice that I wake up, that I'm still suffering from day in and day out, and notice I said still suffering from, because my heart is open and there's still some suffering that goes on there. But that suffering is turned to empowerment, is turned into heat, because the purifier embraces it for what it is. We spoke about this a few weeks ago. Embraces it for what it is. That warm heart of Christ opens up and says, you know what? Yeah, I don't see my children, but I love my children. And I'll tell you something even deeper, and keep in mind what's happening up in Canada, because right now what we're talking about is our hearts going out to this community, to the Native community, and to these children. And this is going past, because remember, there's no such thing as time and space. Our energy, our love, our caring, our frequency, our vibration is traveling to those parents whose children were taken away from them by the government, taken to these schools and these institutions, never to be seen or heard from again. Our heart goes out to them right now, because the heart exists beyond time and space. But we're seeing in the Native community what they're going through. And it's still going on, because what people are doing, people are taking children away from their parents right now, this very day. And they may not be murdering them, but they are taking them from the parents, and it feels painful and it hurts, and that system is corrupt. And that system needs to go. Everything about the system that we live in needs to go and needs to change completely. Because when any one of us suffers from injustice, we all suffer from injustice. We are all interconnected to one another, my nobility. And don't let them take our heart away from us with their actions, and with their mass media campaigns, and with their murderous, rampaging, gun-violent warfare. Bombing children and women and men in other countries. Leaving people homeless and destitute on the streets. This is the countries around the world doing this to people. Stealing the resources of the earth. We have to have an open heart in this time when all of this is going on for us to have a future. There is no future without an open heart. There will be no hip-hopia without an open heart. And it's almost like, I'm noticing that the passion that comes later on when we're talking about heart and an open heart, like the passion's just coming through right now. It's just flowing through right now. The intimacy is here. But let's get into some techniques. Let's refocus the mind now, because when we talk about guarding the heart, you know who the greatest guardian of the heart is? It's the mind. And the heart and the mind and the body in unison with itself is amazing. We can protect our physical heart by drinking water, by getting our heart rate up, by walking, doing a 20-minute walk a couple times a day, at least once a day, 20 minutes of getting the heart rate up and beating. Exercising, sports, getting the heart rate moving and beating, getting that heart rate up every day. Because what it does, once that blood starts pumping, it pumps out the toxins. It creates serotonin, and it creates all this good energy, and it creates, it creates all the endorphins that our body needs to be healthy, just by getting the heart rate moving and pumping. And there's certain foods that we eat that are heart foods, foods that are good for the heart. Go on Google or go onto your web browser. I don't use Google, I use DuckDuckGo because supposedly they're not spying on me through DuckDuckGo, but we know they're spying on all of us through the internet. But go on and YouTube it and see what foods are good for your heart. Start taking care of your heart when you're young. Start getting that exercise and that heart rate up while you're young. And then you won't have to worry about it when you're older. I love it because like my heart sometimes, like I keep my heart healthy. I get my heart rate going 5 times a week at least. And I'll just sit there sometimes and I'll just feel my heart like boom, boom, boom. And this is when hours later after the exercise, and I'm just sitting there meditating or watching a documentary or something, and my heart's going boom, 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 boom. In my chest, and I feel it, and it's just like, oh yeah, it feels so good. Another thing too, I was thinking is very interesting in martial arts, that a lot of the stances in martial arts are to protect the heart, and especially Bruce Lee. Like I'll stand back and see if you see it. You can't see my feet, but you see my hand here. See my heart is? And so I wore the shirt so you can see where the physical heart is tonight. See where my hand is right here? That protects the heart. This can protect the heart too. Boom, 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 boom. But that's one of the stances. That's if you're and less of a target too when you're standing sideways in self-defense. But notice that. Notice where my left hand is and where my heart is. It's protecting the heart. Switch stances now with left facing forward. Now my right hand is here to protect the heart. My right hand is here to protect the heart. My left hand can move up, protect the head, protect the heart too if it needs to, can protect the legs, my forward hand. But the back, notice that the back hand, when it's right facing forward, is protecting the heart, the back hand. And when I switch stances, the back hand, the right hand now is protecting the heart. It's also in Tai Chi, in a bow stance. Here, my heart, see my hand here? It's protecting the heart. See, you can't even see the heart there on the camera. Now, when I come into a right bow stance with the right foot forward, my hands are like this. And see, my hands are protecting the heart, and my elbow, my whole arm is protecting the heart right here. So there's all, in martial arts, the martial arts at least that I've studied, it's all about protecting the heart, the physical heart. You don't want an arrow or a jab or a sword hitting you in the heart in martial arts. Protect the heart physically through diet and exercise, and then if you're a martial artist, you know, keeping that heart protected. Now, protecting the spiritual heart, we're going to get into that, but as we build into that, we're going to get into some techniques with that. For more of an advanced technique on this, study endarkenment in the Gospel of Hip Hop, I will grab the definitions of heart right here. And this is from the third edition of the American Heritage Dictionary, and that's a long definition. I'll put it up here on screen, and we'll read along with it. Of course, heart as a noun, the anatomy, 1A. The chambered muscular organ in vertebrates that pumps blood received from the veins into the arteries, thereby maintaining the flow of blood through the entire circulatory system. And this also says be a similar functioning structure in invertebrates. So this is, the ones with the shells over them, the ones that have the protective shells like a crab or a roly-poly, they've got a heart, they've got a certain way their heart works too. And then those of us who don't have a shell, who got a skin, us mammals and fish and birds, we have this heart, that's out here and out in the open, especially us as humans. Notice that all of our vital organs as a human are exposed. We're the only animal who has every vital organ exposed. Why is that? Because we're not supposed to be killing each other. We're not supposed to be bringing harm to each other. But this heart that's beating, this heart is pumping the blood, the life-giving blood, through our whole entire body and circulatory system. That's the function of the physical heart. We all know this from grade school. We learned what the heart does when it beats. But the whole body is fed. The blood is circulated by the heart. That's how important the heart is to the physical body. Definition number 2. Now this is interesting because this is getting into the heart that we're talking about. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. 3 does. Number 2, the area that is approximately location of the heart in the body, the breast. So the heart in the body and the breast right here. 3a. Now this right here, this is the definition that we are talking about. And I found this very profound that this is actually in the dictionary. Sometimes I disagree with the definitions in this dictionary quite often, actually, because it's colonized. But this is a very good definition right here. Definition 3a for heart. The vital center and source of one's being, emotions, and sensibilities. What? The vital center and source of one's being, emotions, and sensibilities. That's the spiritual heart we're talking about. That's the heart that we're talking about here. That's what it means to have heart, to have a warm heart, to open your heart. This is the heart that we're talking about right here. I'm going to read it again. Definition 3a, the vital center and source of one's being, emotions, and sensibilities. The center and source of our being, emotions, and sensibilities. Of our being. This heart, this is the source of our being. The vital center and source of our being. Definition 3b, the repository of one's deepest and sincerest feelings and beliefs. I'm going to read that one again. 3b, the repository of one's deepest and sincerest feelings and beliefs. Our deepest and sincerest feelings of belief are in our heart. That's why we say, follow the heart, listen to the heart. The heart knows. Because the deepest and sincerest feelings of our beliefs are in our heart, not our mind. Our heart knows. Our mind may be intellectually saying, yes, I really need to go over there, but our heart's going, no, we need to go over there, bro. And the mind's like, no, logically speaking, we need to go over there. We're scheduled to go over there, and I've read everything, and everything points over there. And the heart's like, I feel we need to go over there. Follow the heart. Definition 3c, the seat. Now check this out. This is so deep right here. This is so deep because this is about bringing the intelligence down into the heart and letting the heart lead with emotional intelligence here. Look at this. The seat of the intellect or imagination. The seat of the intellect is the heart. According to the colonizer even knows this. The American Heritage 3rd edition even knows this. The seat of the intellect is in the heart. The seat of the intellect and the imagination is in the heart, not the brain, the heart. Definition 4a, the emotional constitution, basic disposition, or character. We talk about character a lot. Character is king. Character is everything. Our character matters so much. Who our character is, that'll be a future message from the Minista. Character is king. Our character is in our heart. Who we really are, who people see and feel us as, who people know us as, is through our heart. Your character is your heart. This is it, the definition right here. Definition 4b, one's prevailing mood or current inclination. One's prevailing mood or current inclination. What that's saying is wherever you're feeling right now, that's where your heart's at. That's what your heart's doing. How you're feeling is where your heart's feeling, is how you're feeling, is how your heart's feeling, because we are the heart. That's how we're feeling, is the heart. So our current mood is heart-based. Our current mood and inclinations are heart-based. Definition 5A, capacity for sympathy or generosity. Compassion, sympathy, generosity. This is character. This is more of that character, the character of compassion. We have compassion. This is where forgiveness comes in, when we can have compassion on not only others, but ourselves as well. This is where opening our heart comes in, when we can have compassion on ourselves and others as well. But that compassion from the heart. That is like, those are like the what opens the heart, what begins opening the heart is the compassion. It's like if your arm is opening a door, you're pushing the door open with your hands and your arm, your hand and your arm. That's compassion in the visualization. It's compassion that's pushing the heart open. Definition 5B, love, affection. Love and affection. Love and affection. That's from the heart. Love is from the heart. Love is the heart. Love is the center. The heart is the center of love. It's the same thing. We're going to be reading Perform Love tonight from the Gospel of Hip Hop. And we're going to be talking about love from Khalil Gibran, the prophet. We're going to read a quick piece by him from his book, The Prophet, by Khalil Gibran. Back in the early 1900s, he wrote this profound book called The Prophet. It's been translated into English. But he talks about love. So we're going to get into love, because we're talking about an open heart and a warm heart. And this is where we bring it into love. But the feeling of love, what love is, our God is made of love. Our love is our God. Love. And not what the world is defining as love, but what God defines as love. What we know love to be, this is where it is. This is where God lives. This is the seat of love. That's why it's warm. That's why we embrace it. That's why it's the wholeness. This right here. They're trying to control us through here. They're trying to mind control us. And they go from the mind, they try and get to the heart through the mind. And through music and sounds, they try and get to the heart. But this is how we reverse it. This is the jujitsu. This is the reversal of the jujitsu. This is where we take their momentum and we just make a little slight movement and we throw their momentum away. And we use their momentum to crash them into a wall. Their system is going to crash when we open our heart, because they're trying to get to our heart from all these ways. They don't know about the heart because they are not made of love. They don't have love in them. And if they do have any love within them, they tried to kill it a long time ago. And I'm talking about the oppressor. I'm talking about the deep colonizer. I'm talking about these demonic forces that are trying to get to us through the television and the media and the wars and all these things. They're trying to get to our heart from all these outside avenues. But once our heart says, wait a minute, I'm not taking this anymore. My heart, I'm going to open up and I'm push it back. That we win. That's our victory over the streets. An open heart is the victory over the streets. An open heart is hip hop. It's intelligent movement. An open heart is hip hop. Hip hop is an open heart. Listen to all these words that heart is. Imagination, intellect, compassion, character, resolution, courage, fortitude. 6A, courage, resolution, fortitude. Courage, resolution, fortitude, willpower. That's our heart. How profound are these definitions? And what's amazing about these definitions is we know all of this already. We already know all of this already. We just haven't really looked at it all at once like this. We could say, talk about compassion, and we would know compassion comes from the heart. But in intellect, the seat of intellect is the heart. Imagination, fortitude, courage. Like, we know all these things are from the heart, but when we look at them all as one thing, how profound is your heart? How important is the heart? The heart is everything. Everything comes from the heart. Everything comes from the heart. Our Creator is the heart. The Creator thought and felt us forward, didn't think us. The Creator vibrated us and felt us into existence. This is the Word of God, the heart. This is where the Word of God comes from, the heart. Definition number 6b, the firmness of will or the callousness required to carry out an unpleasant task or responsibility. See, now there's the colonizer BS. The callousness required to carry out an unpleasant task or responsibility. After they're saying the firmness of will, no, if our hypoptionary, when we talk about heart, the firmness of will to take responsibility and an unpleasant task or responsibility. It's willpower. When we have an unpleasant task in our lives, we got to break up with somebody that we actually love, but it's not healthy for either of us. That takes willpower. That comes from the heart. We got to tell somebody a truth or speak our truth, and we know it's not going to go over well, but that truth has to be spoken. Truth comes from the heart. And it takes willpower to do that. And it's a responsibility with that willpower to carry out that task. And callousness is not part of it. A callous heart is a closed heart. So they are wrong on that definition right there. Right there is wrong. And I'm telling you, scholars who wrote this, you are wrong. Definition number 7. A person, now this is heart again, a person esteemed or admired as lovable, loyal, or courageous. So now the heart is a person who is admired, esteemed, lovable, or courageous. KRS-One is a heart. He's a heart. By definition number 7, he's a person who's esteemed, admired, lovable, loyal, and courageous. Martin Luther King is a heart because he is a person esteemed or admired, lovable, loyal, courageous. My mom is a heart, a person esteemed or admired as lovable, loyal, or courageous. Whoever in your life who you esteem, who is who you admired as lovable, loyal, and courageous, they are a heart by definition number 7. I am a heart. You are a heart. We are a heart. Definition 8a. The central or innermost physical part or place or region. This gets into like the heart of the home would be the center of the home. The heart of the earth would be, the center of the earth would be called the heart of the earth. The heart of the human, the heart is the center of the human. Definition 8b. And see, it's synonymous with center. Definition 8b. The core of a plant, fruit, or vegetable is the heart. The core of a plant, fruit, or vegetable is the heart. See, that's why plants, fruits, and vegetables are so good for the heart. Definition number 9. This is amazing. The most important or essential part. And what they mean by that, to get to the heart of the matter. Get to the heart of the matter. Well, what is matter? Matter is made of water. We're made of water. We wouldn't even see the matter if it wasn't our body and the water in our eyes and the water reflecting light that we see all around us. What's our heart made of? Water. What is matter? Water. The most important or essential part. What's the most important or essential part of this message is open your heart. A warm heart. A warm heart is the most important and central message. The heart of this message is a warm heart. Then the number 10 is like how we draw a heart, the emoji of the heart, which doesn't even look like a heart. I don't know where that created or how that came to be, but doesn't even look like a heart. You know, Valentine's heart, whatever that is, doesn't even look like a heart. I have no idea how that came to be. It'd probably be an interesting research to figure out how that symbol became a heart and what does it mean. I don't understand it. It doesn't look like a heart. And then they get into playing cards and things like that. But boy, is that some profound definitions. Out of all there's 11 definitions here. The first 9, the first one we talk about the physical heart, which is profound because the physical heart, the same way the physical heart pumps the blood and gives the life-giving energy from the heart, the same with our spiritual heart pumps and gives life-giving energy to life itself. And we're talking about intelligence, centered intelligence, and courage, and strength, and willpower, all these things, and compassion, and love. And a person of these things is a heart itself. Look how important our heart is. Look how important you are. You have a heart. How important is your heart? And I love how heart is art, A-R-T. There is an art to our heart. There is an art to protecting our heart. There is an art to opening our heart and guarding our heart at the same time. When we respect and love our heart, we don't let people play with it. Oh no. Once you go through a breakup where somebody has played and toyed with your heart, if you're any kind of self-respecting human being, you won't allow that to happen again. You don't let people play with your heart, play with your emotions, play with your love, play games with you. We're going to read from the third overstanding tonight, the divine performance. And we're going to be reading divine performance number 8, perform love. And this just goes into the heart. This is the meditation. While we're opening our heart, while you're opening your heart, while you're learning to open up your heart wherever you're at with your heart might be open already and just need to, learn how to guard it. Your heart may be closed right now and need to be opened up. Give yourself time. Give yourself compassion. Give yourself the time that it takes. It is literally the most important thing in any of our lives. The future is depending on us to have an open heart. Your children are depending on you. Your parents are depending on you. Your ancestors are depending on you to have an open heart and a warm heart. Divine performance, this is the third overstanding, the divine performance. Divine performance number 8, perform love. And you can open up to, looks like page 168 in the Gospel of Hip Hop. Perform love. Show your love. Be compassionate and caring. Give others the devotion that you expect from God. For our God is divine love, and this love is not blind. It is lust that is blind. Love is unconditional. It makes itself available to the loved. Love is patient. Love suffers long. Love is kind. Love suffers long. Love is kind. Love proves and empowers one's ability to teach and guide others. Allow God to manifest through you towards others. It is from God that your love comes from, and it is from here that we correctly express our love. Love all and hate none. But when all hate, love none. To truly love is to unite with the being of others. And at the beginning of your spiritual understanding, it is important to guard your heart. For love is healthy and hate is diseased. And see how what this is saying here is that love is how we guard our heart and guard our love. Be mindful of who we give our love to. You can go back and read the love section of the H Law in the fourth overstanding, the H Law Read the love section. It gets into this. Also read the outro. There's a lot of homework if you want to get deeper into this. You got endarkenment for the techniques to protect the energy, and which really gets down to the heart, because the heart is the center of the energy that we're pulsating out into the universe. And then we have the H-Law covers even the second chapter, the love. You can read that as well. Read the H-Law, health, love. Read that part, the love. And you can read the outro here. But there's so much in this book is about the heart and about love, about this gospel. For love is healthy and hate is diseased. Love all who deserve your love and hate no one. For in love you are truly protected and empowered. Love all who deserve your love and hate no one. For in love you are truly protected and empowered. The attuned hip-hopper knows that God is the headliner in every arena of life, and that it is God's performance that is sure to follow the hip-hopper's opening act of true love. Be the love to those that truly deserve it. See the holiness in those people, even when they cannot see it in themselves. Their divinity is the truth of their being. Therefore, let us practice speaking only to the divine nature of people. This is very important right here. Their divinity is the truth of their being. Therefore, let us practice speaking only to the divine nature of people, such as their true essence. But do not live in denial of those who do not truly love you. This is so important. This is the key. Do not live in denial of those who do not truly love you. Even when you are cursed out and or disrespected, remain calm and centered. Remember, the center is the heart. Knowing that such responses are not the truth of anyone's being. Such responses are indeed temporary. When somebody's given it to you, and this is one of the hardest things to do, but when we can remain centered, when somebody's you, and you can just sit there and be the love and realize that the way they're acting is not their truth either, and not act out the way that they're acting towards us, the relationship will either grow or it will end. Either way, you're giving a divine performance and will be empowered through the process, whether the process is growing closer together or growing apart. Because if you love somebody and they disrespect you consistently and they are not willing to change, you cannot be around that person. You will either have to separate yourself from that person, or the universe will separate you from that person once you get this. Knowing that such responses are not the truth of anyone's being, such responses are indeed temporary. Paragraph number 5. This is why the immature always regret what they say and do, and often wind up apologizing for it. Wait for the apology, because those who return to their right mind and seek your pardon of their immaturity deserve your love and understanding. See, so when you remain centered and you're somebody who, your friend, your family member, whoever it is disrespecting you and yelling at you and giving that hate, and you realize, hey, this isn't the truth of their being, and you can remain calm and centered, they will come back once they get into their right state of being. If they come back and apologize to you, you know that that person loves you. You know that they actually love you if they take the time to apologize to you. But if they don't, you got to really evaluate that relationship in your life. If you don't get a sincere apology when somebody has disrespected you and dissed you, take a hard look at that, because they shouldn't be in your life if they constantly do that. And you're remaining centered and you're pointing it out, and they do it again and they don't apologize for it, and there's no sincerity, or they just apologize some half-assed apology. Nah. God wants better for us. God wants better for you. Not some half-assed apology from somebody who doesn't mean it. Not some half-assed relationship with somebody who's not even trying. Whether that be a parent or a partner or a friend or even a coworker. Because a lot of times you go somewhere like, we're all family here. then they don't treat you like family, or they treat you like a dysfunctional family, and that ain't what real family is about. If you remain calm in the midst of such temporary fits of rage, ignorance, immaturity, or sadness, eventually you will see those angered, ignorant, immature, depressed people return to their true state of peace, awareness, and normalcy. And if they truly respect you, even love you, they will apologize, not for their own well-being, but for yours. I'm telling you, when you have a good relationship with somebody and they're going through it and they're sad or depressed or they're angry, and you can remain centered and calm in your heart center and just remain centered in that love, you can literally watch them transform right in front of their eyes. And it's not even always, their anger isn't always directed at you. It might be directed at somebody else or something else, or their sadness or their frustration might be directed at something else they're going through. But if you can remain calm in that situation, they'll return back to normalcy. And that's a real act of kindness and love on our behalf and on their behalf too, when they can return back to that and see that and get back to their center and get back to their heart. Because remember, what we're talking about here is resonance, heart resonance here. Is what the gospel of hip-hop's talking about. When your heart is resonant and you can stay in that center, it will become the dominant resonant frequency in the environment. And the other frequencies will have no choice but to synchronize with that resonant frequency of the heart. They'll have no choice, or they have to leave. And they'll leave on their own accord. Anger and sadness are not normal for any human being. Therefore, such states are always temporary. Joy is normal. Peace is normal. Love is normal. The opposite of this is abnormal. At all times, perform with love. Search your heart for the people you love most and love them. Look at the people you love and say with your inner voice, I love you. Make this a habit. Despite the emphasis others may place upon doing things strictly for payment, and whatever you do, perform it with love. If you hate or dislike what you do, stop doing it. If you hate your job, stop doing it. If you cannot perform your job in love, stop doing it. Quit the job. Tell God, I need to find something I love doing. I need to find something that I can find some love in doing. I can put my love into something I'm doing. You got to actually lead you to a job that you can actually love doing until you find your work, which is your purpose, which you will always love doing. I love doing my purpose. I love fulfilling my purpose. I quit so many jobs I had to quit until I eventually found my purpose. If you dislike or hate what you do, even if you are paid for it, ultimately the result of your compensation will not be fulfilling. In fact, it will only depress you. Therefore, do what you love to do, and do not be afraid to do whatever it is that you love to do. Find time for it. Therefore, do what you love to do, and do not be afraid to do whatever it is that you love to do. Find time for it. If you love to MC, find time for it. If you love to paint or draw, find time for it. If you love to study, find time for it. If you love to meditate, find time for it. If you love to play sport or exercise, find time for it. Find time for what you love to do. Although forgotten, hip-hop was created out of love. Hip-hop was created out of love. Early hip-hoppers performed their elements out of love. They had to. They weren't getting paid nothing for it, or they were getting paid very little. You perform it out of love, oh boy, does it feel good. I write my whole album out of love because I just love making albums. I love rapping. I love rhyming. I love writing rhymes. I just love it. And love is its own reward because you're expressing who you are. You're expressing our purpose. Make time for that. It's like the more time you make for it, the more love you experience. With or without payment, early hip-hoppers loved hip-hop. With all tasks and people, show love. Thank you, teacher. So profound in all of that. Because we're talking about staying centered in the heart center. And when you do that out of love, sometimes you don't have to, sometimes you can just be the love and just be still and not say anything in a compromising situation where somebody's throwing hate or anger at you. You just sit there and be the love. Somebody could be stewing and just mad. You just sit there and be the love. Don't engage it. They'll act, like I was saying earlier, the heart is a resonance chamber. Love is a resonance. When we resonate with love, we're resonating with God. We're resonating with life. We're resonating with nature. And that loving nature, that loving frequency, that loving vibration, that is the dominant frequency in any situation. And it will synchronize with itself those who are out of harmony with that love. So when you find yourself in a situation, say like, you're with somebody that you love and they're going through it and they're going through a hardship and they're frustrated and they're crying and I can't do anything right and I'm so frustrated. And when you can sit there and just be the love in their life and just be the love and just remaining, not join them in on it. That's what the empath has to learn. Don't join in on it. Don't join in on their suffering. Just be the love. And the love is the dominant frequency. And their loving norm, which is their natural state of frequency, will eventually synchronize with the dominant frequency coming out, the dominant vibrational frequency coming out of love. Remember, it's all water. We're loving a vibrational, it's literally, it's not an imaginary invisible wave. We just can't see it. We just can't see it with our eyes. But there's actually a wave sound vibration, a real one that can be measured that's leaving our heart center and going out, and it will synchronize those hearts in our environment who we love and they love us. It will synchronize the hearts. And you'll find that if their heart can't synchronize, they won't be with you much longer. Well, this is how family starts, and this is the ultimate job for a loving mother or a loving father for their little children at home, for the little ones. You know how fast the child's heart vibrates to love? That's why we love being around them, because they have a dominant love frequency in their heart, and our heart just synchronizes to their natural, innate ability of love. We are born of love. We are made of love. And until something happens in our environment, usually from our parents at a young age, all of us went through it. Our parents went through it with their parents, and their parents went through it with their parents, and all the way back to Adam and Eve, But when we're born as children, there's a dominating love that comes from a child. When your son or daughter hugs you, it's the greatest hug in the world because it's pure love. And our heart synchronizes with that love until we try and what happens, So if we can be in our heart center with that love, and our child gets their feelings hurt, or our child goes through some sadness, or our child is going through some frustration, our heart will synchronize their heart as a parent. It's wonderful. This is the greatest gift from God, is a warm, loving, vibrant, healthy heart. And I can look at all the hardship and all the pain and all the suffering that I've experienced in my life. And it's because I allowed so much of it because I kept my heart closed. Or because I didn't empower my heart. I got too caught up in my head. I got too caught up in whatever was feeling in my environment. I got too caught up in all that. All that always going on, we become that. We're all walking around. But when we decide to look at it and be like, this ain't the truth of the situation. This ain't the truth of that person. This ain't the truth of all of this coming at me. You know what the ultimate truth is? The ultimate truth is my warm heart, my centered being, my resonance, my vibration. Let my environment synchronize with my vibration because it's a superior vibration. It's the dominant vibration. The heart is the dominant vibration. When the heart is warm and moving and vibrating at its frequency, the rest of the body just vibrates with it. because it's the dominant vibration. Like I said, I've done all the Tai Chi, I've done all the yoga, I've done all of that, I've studied all that, all the meditations, like I've studied every one of them, all these techniques, all of that for years, 20 plus years. And the conclusion is, a warm heart gets you there just like that, get you there quick. A warm heart, if your brain's like, oh man, I can't figure this out, go back to the warm heart, you'll figure it out. Because remember, what does it say in this definition right here? The seat of the intellect or imagination. That's the heart. The seat of the intellect or imagination. So when the intellect, or if you're having a hard time with the imagination, with the creativity, go there. Writer's block for an MC. Go to the warm heart. Look at, when I'm right-handed or left-handed, whatever it is, I'm right-handed. Look at this line when I'm writing. Look at this line. It goes right to my heart. It's like my heart's just going right out my pen. Raise your hands and overstand. Hip-hop is the promised land. Oh, that's my heart writing right there. My name's Zin Uru means the promised land because I feel at home wherever I stand. That's my heart right there. I extract my lyric like the word from the stone through puffs in the spliff, and I'm on my way home. I never walk alone. I walk with great spirit. God is my protection, so who will draw near it? That's the heart. That's my heart saying words that my mouth are going to say, and my pen's writing out what the heart wants to say. So don't think about what you want to say. Hey, think about it, because remember, the heart is the seat of the intellect. The intellect's just sitting there in the heart. So the intellect can say, oh, say this rhyme, say this word. That's dope, that's dope. And the heart's saying, I want to express how I feel about the world right now. I want to express how I feel about who I love right now. I want to express how I feel about hip-hop right now. The heart wants to express that, and then the intellect's seated in the heart is going, oh, yeah, say this word, say that word, and they're working together. The mystical marriage of the mind and the heart, you know. You're feeling it and really feeling it. I want to close with Khalil Gibran, the book The Prophet. This is one of the greatest books ever written. Look how thin that book is. That's a little book. And if you have never read The Prophet, this is considered a literary masterpiece. And the book is about a prophet who's gone into a country, and he's leaving. He's leaving on a boat because he's got to move on. He's got to go to another country. And he's getting on a boat, and the people who love him come, and they're asking their last questions. And somebody asked him about love, among other things. Get the book. You got to, if you've never read The Prophet, get the book. Do yourself a favor. And the translation into English is brilliant. I want to Aramaic. I really should have more knowledge on what the original it's not in here. It doesn't even have about the author because it's such an old copy of the book. Khalil Gibran, the prophet. Then said Al-Mitra, speak to us of love. And he raised his head and looked upon the people, and there fell a great silence upon them. And with a great voice he said, and this is the prophet speaking, when love beckons to you, follow him. Though his ways are hard and steep, and when his wings enfold you, yield to him. Though the sword hidden among his pinions may wound you. And when he speaks to you, believe in him. Though his voice may shatter your dreams as the north wind lays waste the garden. For even as love crowns you, so shall he crucify you. Even as he is for your growth, so is he for your pruning. Even as he ascends to your height and caresses your tenderest branches that quiver in the sun, so shall he descend to your roots and shake them in their clinging to the earth. Like sheaves of corn, he gathers you unto himself. He threshes you to make you naked. He sifts you to free you from the husks. He grinds you to whiteness. He kneads you until you are pliant. And then he assigns you to his sacred fire that you may become sacred bread for God's sacred feast. All these things shall love do unto you, that you may know the secrets of your heart, and in that knowledge become a fragment of life's heart. But if in your fear you would seek only love's peace and love's pleasure, then it is better for you that you cover your nakedness and pass out of love's threshing floor into the seasonless world where you shall laugh, but not all of your laughter, and weep, but not all of your tears. Love gives not but itself, and takes not but from itself. Love possesses not would it be possessed, for love is sufficient unto love. When you love, you should not say, God is in my heart, but rather, I am in the heart of God. And think not that you can direct the course of love, for love, if it finds you worthy, directs your course. Love has no other desire but to fulfill itself. But if you love and must needs have desires, let these be your desires: to melt and be like a running brook that sings its melody to the night, to know the pain of too much tenderness, to be wounded by your own understanding of love, and to bleed willingly and joyfully, to wake at dawn with a winged heart and give thanks for another day of loving, to rest at the noon hour and meditate love's ecstasy, to return home at eventide with gratitude, and then to sleep with a prayer for the beloved in your heart and a song of praise upon your lips. That's brilliant. Because like I was saying earlier, when I opened up my heart, when the teacher was like, Zin, you need to open up your heart. And I know why you're afraid, Zin, because every time you've opened it up in the past, somebody put a stake in it. And I opened it up and they tried to put a stake in it. They took the kids. They took what I love most in the world. But they couldn't take them from my love. My love grew stronger for them. And although they weren't here in my presence, my love still fills them stronger than ever. Because they can't take the love from you. They can't do it. And what Gibran is saying through the prophet is that to open your heart, to really open your heart to God, to love, to dwell in God, that love will wound you, but it will make you stronger. And if you're going to be afraid to be wounded, you're going to laugh, but you're not going to experience all your laughter. You're going to witness, but you're not going to witness all that life has for you. You're going to live, but you're not going to live a full life. This is why the heart's the center. This is why opening the heart is the most important of it all. Because we've all been wounded by love. But if we've been afraid of that and we close off our heart to love, we close our heart off to life. We close our heart off to truth. We close our heart off to God. And we won't experience the fullness of life that God intends for us. Don't let this world make your heart cold. Allow God to make your heart warm. Don't let this world distract you and try and get you off course to where you forget you even have a heart because they don't. Remember, the heart is the dominating frequency. This is what we put forward into the earth. And this is what we guard. And this is what we protect. We protect our heart. spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally. And it takes time. It takes time to open your heart. It's not going to happen overnight. But a little warmth in your heart, once that ember is sparked, once you keep adding fuel to that fire, it is an eternal purifier. And everything that is not of God, that is not of love, will be burned away. And all that will remain is what is true, and what is God, and what is love, and what is the wholeness, and what is nature, and what God intended for us from the very beginning. Be the love, my nobility. Be the love in your environment. Be the love in your life. Be the answered prayer for others. You are the heart itself. You are the love itself in your environment. Meditate upon this lesson, my nobility. Peace and so much love to you, from my heart to your heart. There it is. Hip!